Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Pires coming to you from Baltimore. And this is also the Black Report on the Real News Network. Donald Trump presented his economic plan on Monday in Detroit. And on Thursday, Hillary Clinton will present her economic plans in Detroit as well. In the lead up to Clinton's presentation, prominent New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman advised Clinton to pursue, and I quote here, a real pro-growth startup deregulation and entrepreneurship agenda. Also, she should reject Sanders' anti-free trade approach to economic issues, according to Friedman. This is how Clinton can siphon off business Republicans from Donald Trump, he advises. Joining us now to discuss all of this about Thomas Friedman's recommendations to Hillary Clinton is Bill Black. Bill is an associate professor of economics and law at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. He's a white-collar criminologist and a former financial regulator and the author of The Best Way to Rob a Bank is to Own One. Thanks so much for joining us, Bill.
Thanks.
So let's begin, Bill, with taking apart Friedman's recommendations. What is he exactly asking her to do?
Oh, well, it's Friedman, so there's no exact. It's columns that are consist entirely of slogans. So the slogans that he thinks are important here are socialism is the best way for making everyone equally poor, and capitalism makes everyone unequally wealthy, and such, those types of things. So his overall recommendation in two columns to Hillary is that the way to beat Donald Trump is to go to the right of the Republican Party platform on economic issues. And as you said, the two big things that he wants is deregulation, and he wants the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, the setting for all of this is, as he explains in one of his columns, is that there are web people, see the webbing, and then there are wall people, and web people are good, they like the web, and they're constantly learning, and then there are wall people who are bad. They are lazy or not very bright. They don't want to spend their time between 10 o'clock and midnight after they put the kids to sleep studying on the web. And he says the future is going to be all about the web people, and that the key is that Hillary needs to turn her back on the wall people, embrace the web people, this continuous learning stuff.
Wow. And so Hillary Clinton is, of course, expected to give her speech tomorrow. And it seems to me that we really need to distinguish between the official Republican and Democratic economic platforms, but we also need to take a look at track records. Now, Hillary Clinton, as we all know, has recently moved a little bit to the left when it comes to TTIP or TPP or even NAFTA, but particularly on TPP. So do you think that she's going to stick with this alignment, or is she going to take on Trump? Because Trump himself has indicated in his speech on Monday that if he's elected, he's going to renegotiate all these deals like NAFTA, or if it's not in favor of the U.S., he said that he's prepared to walk away from these deals. So first of all, where is Hillary Clinton on all of this, and is where she is truly far apart from Trump?
So a number of Hillary supporters are saying she doesn't believe a word of this trade stuff, and after the election, like President Obama, she'll do a flip. Now, probably the person she was closest to, with the possible exception of Bill, McAuliffe, floated a trial balloon that lasted only an hour. And the trial balloon was, oh, this is nuts. Hillary will just say, I'm going to improve the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, and then she'll go ahead and sign it. And that was, of course, before the convention. There was going to be a revolt of the Sanders folks, and the rest of the Clinton campaign came out within literally like 90 minutes and said, no, 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 no. Hillary really, really now opposes these deals. But to go back to, of course, Friedman first, and then fit this in. Friedman, who says that the key is to learn, I'll be a lifetime learner, is the person who never learns, right? The person who is still saying deregulation after deregulation has been tried 3 times and produced ever-growing disasters, from the savings and loan debacle, the $150 billion, to the Enron era frauds that, in conjunction with the dot-com stuff, caused a $7 trillion loss in market capitalization, up to the current crisis that caused $24.3 trillion. And every one of these trade deals has failed to have the supposed job creation effects in the United States, and has had the effect often of driving down effective regulation. And of course, Friedman never learns from any of these things. Trump's plan, by the way, except on TPP, went back completely to Republican orthodoxy. So I think you will see Clinton attack it as one bailout after another of the rich, which it is. But I think she'll also attack it as dangerous, as creating deficits. And this is from this phony thing that said Bill Clinton's surpluses were a wonderful thing for the economy and show he's virtuous. No such thing. They were very harmful for the economy, helped create the Great Recession. It reflects absolute economic illiteracy, that you should have a budget surplus in the context of the United States. And we know she's learned nothing, because it's only a few weeks ago when people said, well, why don't, with these really low interest rates, you have a much bigger program of infrastructure? You can see how many people have dropped out of the labor force, a point that Trump makes. And so while we have a low unemployment rate, we actually have an enormous reserve army of the not officially unemployed, right? Who are off the rolls of the unemployed because they're so discouraged that they've given up even looking for work, and therefore aren't counted. And Hillary's response was, we can't do that. That would make us the Weimar Republic or Zimbabwe, right? Hyperinflation. Just incredible nonsense. Again, showing that she hasn't learned anything about economics, anything about modern monetary theory.
Speaking of monetary theory, one of Friedman's most specific recommendations is that Clinton needs to address Democratic Party's anti-banking sentiments. And here I think what he means is regulations, which is one of your expertise, of course. So give us a sense of the kind of financial deregulation Trump is going to be engaged in. And is it true, the attacks Friedman is making on Hillary here?
So we don't know, of course, what Trump will do, because the typical thing with Trump, I'm going to cut it really, really big, 75%. Well, okay, so what does that mean? Oh, well, but don't worry, it'll be great. I'll hire the best people and such. Obviously not people like me. So we don't know. It's the usual thing with Trump. It's all hot air. Other than he is saying that he wants to do lots of deregulation. Hillary wants to do deregulation as well on finance, and she too hasn't specified what she wants to roll back. Her vice presidential selection, Tim Kaine, is very big again, he, like Hillary, like Bill, like Gore, and Vilsack, who is the other person on the short list for vice president. All of these people are alums of the Democratic leadership council. The far right Wall Street end of the party. So they have wanted historically to gut effective regulation and supervision and criminal enforcement of the laws. Keene wanted a very substantial rollback of Dodd-Frank, and he also refused to support initiatives by the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau to crack down on the abuses of the predatory payday lenders. So we know that within the administration is one of the strongest voices in the Democratic Party for Wall Street. Obviously, if the vice president ends up the president, through death, he will be a real partisan. But most people think that, Hillary's selection of Kaine and as Vilsack as the number 2 in that pool demonstrate that she hasn't changed at all, that she's still a big believer in financial deregulation, just like Thomas Friedman.
All right, Bill, I thank you so much for joining us today and looking forward to your report next week.
All right, thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.